This is not a song about Blake. This is a message to Blake.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Shashti Floor, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on the illusion. Happy Friday, everyone. There's so much going on today, I don't know where to start. First, you have the Diddy trial, and he's getting sentenced, I think right now while I'm making this video. Just talking about that makes me really sick to my stomach, and I just watched that video that he had prepared to show in court to make people think that he's actually a really nice guy because he gives to charity and his kids love him. This man needs to be locked away for a really, really long time. Other than that, last night, 9 p.m. LA time actually, Taylor Swift released her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, and everyone went up in arms trying to figure out what song is about Blake. The headlines today are all speculating that Cancelled is about Blake, and they're saying it's not what we thought, it's more like a supportive song to Blake. I have a very different opinion about that, and I will let you know exactly why, because to me, it makes absolutely no sense that Taylor Swift would make a song to say that her friendship with Blake Lively is still going strong. And there's another ruling, you guys, in the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively legal drama. This time, I'm so happy with the judge. He ruled on the case of Jennifer Abel versus Stephanie Jones, the two publicists that have been fighting and the two publicists that both used to work for Justin Baldoni. In the case, Jennifer Abel accuses Stephanie Jones of getting hold of her phone and sharing that data illegally. And the judge agrees. So we'll get through that. I think this is a major win for Justin Baldoni, and I'll tell you why. Also yesterday, Keith Urban has been touring, as you know, in the middle of this divorce drama while Nicole Kidman is going for hikes with her sister, and everyone keeps speculating. So yesterday he was on stage, and guess who was not there? His guitarist. So it says here on page 6 that Keith Urban's guitar player skips concert after being dragged into Nicole Kidman divorce. Keith performed at Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania without his guitarist and rumored new love interest Maggie Bowe. It also says here that Urban chose not to sing his love song written for Kidman, The Fighter, which is the lyrics that he swapped out for Maggie Bond. If you watched my video yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. But he did, however, it says here, include pictures of their daughters, Sunday 17 and Faith 14, in a slideshow during his Heart Like a Hometown performance. Well, he apparently made no mention of Bo's absence during his performance, and the Post has reached out to him for comment, and they haven't received any comments yet. So I think now it obviously makes it look a bit more like he had something going on, or he have something going on with her. I don't know. We don't know the facts yet, you guys. As I said so many times, we shouldn't judge anyone before we know the entire truth there. But that's a little bit of an update there. And also thank you to Becky who sent me this video. There's another interview with Keith Urban where he's asked about his relationship with Nicole Kidman. And this, I think, is the most cringe so far.
Speaking of your amazing love story with Nicole, you met at G'day Australia. Is that what it was called?
G'day LA.
G'day LA.
Yeah.
If you hadn't both been there that day, would your paths somewhere have inevitably crossed? Or maybe this incredible
probably.
life story wouldn't have happened?
No, I think it would.
Yeah? Are you a believer in fate, or do you think as two Australians it would have happened?
No idea.
I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Well,
Never know.
You never know.
it's fate. It's the universe.
Anyway, moving on.
You'd like to think so. You'd like to think so.
Yeah, that was on Daily Mail of Australia. And it's obvious that at this point, Keith Urban did not want to talk about his wife anymore. I bet when this interview actually happened, they probably already lived apart, so it's really weird for him to talk about that. I can't imagine what it's like for him now to go on stage every night and pretend like nothing while all of this stuff is going on in the back of his head. So yeah, the drama continues in Hollywood. Anyways, let's get into Taylor Swift's new album. I was listening to Cancelled yesterday. I was listening to The Fate of Ophelia, and I was listening to Ruin the Friendship. Ruin the Friendship and The Fate of Ophelia makes no sense. It's not about Blake Lively, but her lyrics for the song Cancelled makes a lot of sense. Although I have to say, I read this completely differently than a lot of people have done so far, and I'll explain why. So this headline at page 6 is saying Taylor Swift's Cancelled is a shocking defense of Blake Lively. Fans theorize, cloaked in Gucci and in scandal. So they're referencing Gucci to when Blake Lively was named the fame of Gucci's new fragrance back in 2012. I think that's a little far-fetched, but anyways, I don't see any reason for Taylor Swift to defend Blake Lively at this point. Remember everything that happened. Blake Lively tried to blackmail Taylor Swift for not supporting her in public. She said, I will release text messages from the last 10 years if you don't support me in public. She also asked her to delete text messages between the two of them. Probably that had something to do with It Ends With Us and Justin Baldoni. And they probably had something to do with It Ends With Us and Justin Baldoni, which means she basically asked her friend to tamper with evidence. Also keep in mind that Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds. It was a big public deal. It's been so obvious also that Taylor Swift's dad was involved, and he was the one that leaked this information to Justin Baldoni's team. So keep that in mind. Why on earth would Taylor Swift defend Blake Lively? I don't think she did. This is not a song about Blake. This is a message to Blake. And the reason why I'm saying that is not just because Taylor Swift loves Easter eggs and has pointed out so many times that we should never take her lyrics literally. And that is why I see this song this way. She's singing in the song. If you haven't heard the song yet, you should probably listen to it first and listen to all their lyrics. I'm not going to read the entire lyrics here. I'm just going to point out a few things. So in the song, she sings, I like my friends cancelled. For me, that says that Taylor Swift is telling the world and Blake Lively that I always support my friends. Even though they're cancelled, I will be there for my friends. That doesn't mean that I'll be there for you if you treat me really badly. If you treat me as a person and don't support me as a person, then I'm not going to be there for you. But it doesn't matter how the public treats you. It doesn't matter if they drag you through the mud. If you're canceled in public, I will be there to support you. But I can't be there to support you if you're not supporting me, and if you're threatening me, and if you are basically ruining the friendship. And now Oscar stopped by to say something, right, Oscar? Yeah. Another reason for Taylor not to support Blake in public is probably because she doesn't believe her. As you know, Taylor Swift has been very vocal before about supporting other women in the public eye, and she's gone through periods of times where she's not been very popular herself, and that's another thing she talks about in this song, that she knows the feeling herself of being cancelled. I don't know what went on in their relationship, Blake and Taylor's relationship, while Taylor was going through a rough time, you know, with the whole Kardashian thing, with her breaking up with boyfriends, and people were saying that she was a mean girl and that she was going through boyfriends so fast, and the whole Scooter Braun thing. There's been a lot of controversies around Taylor as well. And did we ever see Blake standing up for her in public during those times? No. So when she's singing in the song, Good Thing I Like My Friends Cancelled, is Taylor saying that she doesn't abandon people when the public turns on them. She even romanticizes it a little bit by saying she's sticking with friends who are scandalous and controversial or have scars from public attacks. In the bridge, she's singing, they stood by me before my exoneration. They believed I was innocent. And this obviously references to when Taylor was in the news and when Taylor was having controversies surrounding her. And she's honoring the friends who were there for her, who were in her inner circle, who stood up for her during that time. In verse 3, it gets very interesting, you guys. She's singing, everyone's got bodies in the attic or took somebody's man. We'll take you by the hands. That's a reminder that Blake Lively got some skeleton in the closet and that per a lot of media outlets, Blake and Ryan started dating before Ryan got divorced from Scarlett Johansson. There's also been rumors about Blake Lively having an affair with Ben Affleck. We don't know if that's true, but these are things that probably Taylor Swift knows about. She's saying it's not the scandals themselves that ruins you, it's how you handle it. And in the outro, she's saying, you know who we are. We are the ones with matching scars. It's almost like she's saying real friends go through the fire together. And maybe at that point, she doesn't think that Blake was there. And we didn't know this until now, but I think that's what she's trying to say here. Blake wasn't really there for her. If Blake tried to use Taylor, blackmailing her, for example, then she doesn't belong in that scar-sharing circle with Taylor. And here comes a really good one, which I think is a direct reference to how Blake Lively interfered with everything in It Ends With Us and tried to take over the movie. Taylor is singing, "Did you girl boss too close to the sun? Did they catch you having too much fun?" Yeah, I don't think that needs much more of an explanation. Did you girl boss too close to the sun? She did. And then she's saying something here. It's easy to love when you're popular, but one single drop, you're off the roster. Tone deaf and hot, let's effing off her. Tone deaf, that is the word that everyone used when Blake Lively was promoting It Ends With Us. They said that her promotion was completely tone deaf. Yeah, I remember she was asking everyone to wear their florals and bring their girlfriends, and trying to promote her hair care line and her booze brand in the middle of all of that. It was so tone deaf. Then she sings, "Did you make a joke only a man could? Were you just too smug for your own good? Or bring a tiny violin to a knife fight?" What I'm thinking here is how Blake has adapted Ryan's sense of humor, that kind of sarcastic, edgy humor that he's so known for from Deadpool and from his commercials of Aviation Gin. His whole Maximum Effort brand is about that. And Blake tried to adapt that, and it didn't work. Because when she tried to use that kind of sense of humor promoting It Ends With Us, it completely backfired on her. And that's what I think she's saying here. Yeah, I think this goes back to the whole PR circle around It Ends With Us. Let me know what you think. Also, she said, or bring a tiny violin to a knife fight. So basically, Blake came out with all her accusations, thinking like, that's enough, I'll just play my little violin. She didn't realize the enormous public backlash from this and how Justin would come out and defend himself. She didn't realize that he was armed with all these filings and all this evidence and that he was willing to fight this. So she underestimated this battle that was ahead of her. Yeah, Blake just tried to lean towards glossy media optics, and Justin came with the knives. And she sings, "Now they've broken you like they've broken me, but a shattered glass is a lot more sharp. And now you know exactly who your friends are. You know who we are. We're the ones with matching scars." I think this is a gut punch to Blake. She's saying, I know what it's like to be broken by the public, but my real friends stuck with me. Scars and all. You, Blake, didn't. You don't get to be in that circle. Anyways, this is the way I'm reading this, because to me, it makes absolutely no sense that Taylor Swift would just make a song to say that I'm your friend even though you're canceled, because they're not friends. She's not inviting her to her wedding. There's no communication going on between them. It makes absolutely no sense for Taylor to do that. And also, as you know, Taylor loves riddles. She wants people to believe one thing and then she meant something else, and she's probably never going to explain it. But to me, as I said, this is not a song about Blake. This is a message to Blake. Also, as you know, I've been covering a lot of how Blake and Ryan has been doing things separately lately. And according to Daily Mail, Ryan was here in LA yesterday premiering his movie, the documentary that he's been pushing like crazy about John Candy. Blake Lively did not show up. Her sister, on the other hand, Robin, was there supporting Ryan. This is really weird to me. She hasn't supported him during this entire tour, and she's home baking and coloring, and it makes no sense to me why they're not there to support each other. And that's why I've said so many times already that I think there's something up in their relationship, and I think it's not in a good place right now after everything that has happened. I think Ryan never expected the backlash from this lawsuit on his own career and on his own public image. Okay, and here's some good news. Finally, some good news in the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively legal saga. So the judge ruled today on the Jennifer Abel versus Stephanie Jones case. And why this is so important is because it is directly connected, obviously, to Lively versus Baldoni and the Wayfarer case. And the judge ruled today on something that is going to change everything. So the judge said that Jennifer Abel's case against Stephanie Jones is dismissed partly. He took out some parts of it. I'm not going to get into that because that's not what's interesting here. What's interesting is that he left a lot of opportunities for Jennifer Abel to prove her case. And one of those things is to get evidence from that Van Zandt shell company that's owned by Ryan Reynolds. We know that Stephanie Jones took Jennifer Abel's phone when she left the company and kept it for about 3-4 weeks before this sham lawsuit was filed against 10 anonymous people by Ryan Reynolds' company. And that's how they got hold of that phone, through that subpoena. And they said that that was a legal way to get hold of that phone. And then for some reason, all those text messages ended up in Blake Lively's possession and in the New York Times possession. And now the judge has said that he's allowing Jennifer Abel to prove this. And this is really important because last week, Baldoni and the Wayfarer party had a big argument saying that they wanted to depose Van Zandt, that company, and get their communications before they actually filed this lawsuit. Meaning they wanted to see what was going on, what the communications were between Van Zandt and Stephanie Jones leading up to that subpoena. Why was her company subpoenaed? They must have received some information about that phone to actually send out those subpoenas. It's not like they were like, oh, we think someone said something about Blake Lively in Stephanie Jones' company. Let's just throw some subpoenas over there. Obviously, they knew that there was a phone there and they knew that they needed to get hold of that phone legally. And this is huge because now Baldoni's team can use all this evidence that Jennifer Abel will get through her discovery in their case. So now Jennifer Abel's lawyers can demand emails, text messages, and documents from Jones, Stephanie Jones, and Jones Works, her company, and possibly from Lively's team as well. And if that discovery shows that the Van Zandt lawsuit was used to grab Jennifer Abel's iCloud messages, that could really blow back hard on Blake. It would raise the question, did Blake's team knowingly participate in a setup to get private data? And if her team used a fake cause to issue subpoenas, that could really hurt her standing in the main lawsuit. And judges don't like abuse of process. And the thing is, these text messages and emails are the only evidence that Blake Lively has so far. And if those messages are ruled compromised, they might get tossed out. Then she has nothing. So yeah, this makes me really hopeful that we can finally see a little bit of justice here. And if all of this gets tossed out, that's going to look really bad for the New York Times as well, because then we all know that they used illegally obtained messages to report a story. So yeah, that's it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I will probably leave an update during the weekend as well, as I usually do. So stay tuned for more Flawsome Talk. And thanks to all the new members. You can also join the membership if you click on the button below this video saying join. And you can subscribe if you haven't yet, and check if you've been unsubscribed, because it does happen a lot, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And I'll see you in my next one.
Yeah, we
Bye.
Talk.